Hi, welcome to our video series, Estate Planning Conversations, which we created in order to answer commonly asked estate planning questions. I'm Lily Rome, and this is my husband, Eric Rome, who is a partner at Sage Law in Overland Park. We have received great feedback about this video series, so we want to continue to provide helpful information to our viewers. If there's ever a topic you would like us to address, please send us a message. Today, we are going to touch on a topic that is difficult to talk about, but ultimately very important, which is what to do when you've lost a loved one. Once they pay their final respects, what should the surviving family members focus on to handle their financial affairs?
Hi, everyone. Yeah, I think it's important that the initial focus should be on paying the final respects. A lot of times the management of their assets and their financial affairs can wait a few weeks. But once it's time to start taking a look at that, a lot of the first steps are just information gathering. Learning as much as you can about their assets. Now that can be more easily accomplished if you had conversations with them prior to their death and kind of understood where all their accounts were and what they owned. But if you don't have that, you can collect this information by collecting the mail. A lot of times within a few months you are going to get all the monthly and quarterly statements for their various accounts. Now this is becoming more challenging with so many paperless statements being sent to email that you may or may not have access to. Another source of information is reviewing their email. Again, if you don't have access to the email, that's a problem. And so I recommend that everybody look at their email service provider, and a lot of times they'll let you designate somebody to see to review your emails or have access to your account if it's been inactive for a while or after you're deceased. Reviewing tax returns can be very helpful. A lot of information is on there about your accounts if you received interest or dividends from there, and seeing your accountant's file. The accountants are going to have a lot of that information. Just reviewing the files in the home or contacting other advisors like financial advisors, or if they did have an estate planning attorney. So after we collect all this asset information, then we need to determine what assets they owned, whether there was a co-owner who will now own the entire asset, whether there was a beneficiary designation, or if there was a trust involved that owned the assets, and ultimately determine whether a probate is needed. A couple other things we want to focus on is whether they had any creditors, medical bills, credit cards, mortgage on the house, car loan, and then determine whether they've filed tax returns for past years, for the prior year, and they're oftentimes going to need to have a tax return filed for the year in which they died if they earned enough income at that point.
Okay, so is this something that a family member can do all on their own?
A lot of the tasks that I described can be done without any legal help. What I've found from experience is sometimes if I have an initial meeting with clients and kind of go over the action list, the things that need to be done, maybe spend an hour and a half with them and be available to answer any questions that come along, that can make their entire process a lot easier. Now, of course, if they don't want to do some of that work themselves, myself or my staff can handle that, but a lot of this work can be DIY. It's just nice to have a little bit of guidance along the way.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, well, we hope you found this information useful, and as always, just please reach out with any questions you have or if you have any estate planning needs. Thanks.
Thanks.